Hi, Ed here from keywordspeopleuse.com, and I've got an exclusive time-limited offer for you. If you book a product demo with Keywords People Use, I'll give you a free 7-day trial of our standard plan, which allows you access to our new content optimization tool. This tool hooks into your Google Search Console data so we can find all the keywords you're ranking for and what pages are ranking. We then crawl your site content and use advanced machine learning techniques like embeddings and cosine similarity to find you content optimization opportunities that will quickly boost your impressions and clicks from Google. This new feature in Keywords People Use is already showing results for people using it. Don't miss out on the opportunity of a 7-day free trial. Just go to keywordspeopleuse.com/demo to book your slot. That's keywordspeopleuse.com/demo. You'll find the link in the show notes of this episode. Hi, Ed Dawson here. And as I'm a bit busy at the moment and need a break, welcome to another one of my Best of SEO is Not That Hard podcasts. These are the episodes from the back catalogue that I think have the greatest hits and ones that are still relevant and provide great value for you. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome to SEO is Not That Hard. I'm your host, Ed Dawson, the founder of the SEO intelligence platform keywordspeopleuse.com, where we help you discover the questions people ask online and learn how to optimise your content to build traffic and authority. I've been in SEO and online marketing for over 20 years, and I'm here to share the wealth of knowledge, hints and tips I've amassed over that time. Hello, welcome back to another episode of SEO Not That Hard, and it's me here, Ed Dawson, hosting as usual. And today I'm going to talk about canonicalization, which is actually quite a hard word to say without getting it mixed up. It'll be a term that you will come across, and it might be one that you might have thought, what does it mean? So first things then, let's answer the fundamental question, what is canonical? Well, in the context of SEO, canonicalization is the process of selecting the best URL where there's several choices available for a single piece of content. So essentially, it's telling search engines which version of URL you want to appear in search results. Now, why is this important? Well, it's because search engines, they want to provide the best user experience. They want to deliver unique, relevant content, all that kind of stuff. And when the same content is accessible through multiple URLs, it can confuse the search engines. So it can lead to issues like duplicate content, where search engines may see these URLs as separate pages with identical content, which can dilute your page authority and it can impact your rankings. It wastes crawl budget because search engines will only allocate a certain amount of crawl budget to your site. So how many pages they'll crawl on your site over a certain period of time. And if they're crawling duplicate pages, then you're essentially using some of this budget unnecessarily, which means you get less crawl budget available for other pages to use. And it gives incorrect page ranking. So the search engines, they might rank a URL that you don't want them to over the one you actually want people to see. So by properly implementing canonicalization, you help the search engine understand which version of your page is the master copy, ensuring that your content gets indexed and ranked appropriately. So let's think about why it matters for SEO. So you think about it, if you've got an e-commerce site with product pages that can be accessed through different URLs due to things like filters, sorting options, or session IDs, you'll have seen these. So it's where you might have, a product page for, say, shoes. Your best URL that you want is www.example.com/products/shoes. That's the version that you want to be indexed. But the same content might also be available on www.example.com/products, category equals shoes, &sort equals price, or even under www.example.com/products, category equals shoes. So you can, I know it's hard to speak these things out compared to seeing them online, but you'll know what I mean, where basically you can get exactly the same content through a number of different URLs. And these URLs are probably playing similar or very almost identical content. And without canonicalization, the search engine might treat each URL as a separate page, which this will lead to split link equity. So the backlinks pointing to different versions of the page dilute the overall link equity. So you've got 3 pages, say, with a link each, means each page only got 1 link, when really it'd be better to have 1 page with all 3 links at it, which can lead to lower rankings. So, duplicate content can cause search engines to rank each page lower or even exclude them from the search results of being duplicates. And it can give confusing search results to users who they might see multiple versions of the same page. So if you specify a canonical URL, what you're doing is you're consolidating all the signals, the link equity, preferred version into that one URL that you want to be the one the search engines to take notice of, and it improves your chances of ranking higher. So obviously you're probably thinking, how do you implement canonicalization effectively? So the way to do it is to use the link rel equals canonical tag. Now, don't try and remember all the sort of any HTML I'll tell you now. You just need to go and research what the canonical tag is. And what this is a bit of HTML code that goes in the head section of your website, and it essentially says, this is the link, this is the canonical link for this page. So if you essentially get this page, if the crawler gets this page from any URL, the one that you're telling it in this canonical tag, you're saying to it, this doesn't matter what URL you got this page from, the canonical original master version of this page that I want you to consolidate all your signals to is this one that I'm giving you here. And that's the one that you put in there, like the href link to the actual canonical version. So again, really hard to explain on a podcast. Go and Google it. Go and research on how to create a canonical link element in the head of your HTML code. Now, even on a page that you think has no canonicals, it's best practice to have a self-referencing canonical tag. So that's basically, even if the page is unique, has no duplicates, make sure you still include a canonical tag on that page that points to its own URL to help prevent any accidental duplicate content issues in the future. Because just because you've only got one version of that page now that Google's found, there might be other ways into that page content that Google might find that may create a canonical, may create a duplicate version. So you want to have that self-referenced canonical tag on every page. You want to be consistent with your URLs. So, for example, always make sure you include, the HTTP versus the HTTPS version, and like the www versus the non-www version. So whichever way you decide to do it. So, for example, if all your URLs don't have the www on, make sure you stick with this across your site. Or if they all have the www on, make sure you are consistent with that across the site. So just be consistent with how you treat URLs. Now, you can canonicalize across domains if necessary. So say you're syndicating your content to other websites or you've got similar content on multiple domains, you can use cross-domain canonical tags to point back to the original source. So it works if you're sharing that content out, or if you've got multiple URLs, you can point them all back to the one version that you want Google to consider the canonical version. You want to, if you can, avoid canonicalizing to redirected URL. So if you've got a page which is the canonical version of a piece of content, and you then 301 that page to another page, it's really important to, if possible, to change all the canonical versions to point to the new URL and not to the 301 URL. You want to, and also, you want to keep your canonical URLs clean. So in that version where I gave the different examples, there was one which was a very simple, example.com/products/shoes. That's a nice clean version. Don't use your canonicalized version as being the one with all the, parameters on, because it's better to keep it on the clean URL if you can. Yeah, and you need to use absolute URL. So an absolute URL means you need to include the HTTP or HTTPS / the full domain. Don't you do canonicals to relative URLs where you're just including like this from the first folder onwards. Only have one canonical tag per page. If you include multiple canonical tags, that's probably confusing yourself. It's also going to confuse the search engines. Always stick to one clear canonical tag per page. Make sure you monitor and look out for pages where you've got canonicalization issues. You can use Search Console for this. You want to be looking for where it gives you, say, duplicate, no canonical defined, duplicate, different version of the canonical chosen. You can see that in Google Search Console. You can get data on this, so keep an eye out for that there and try and fix any that you find. And make sure that, again, you're consistent with your other SEO elements. So make sure your sitemap, internal links, hreflang tags, if you're using those, are all consistent with your canonical URLs. So you want to make sure you try and link wherever possible to the canonical version. So, that being said on how you should do it, here's some of the sort of issues I've seen and common mistakes that people do and you want to try and avoid. So the first off is, canonicalizing all pages to the home page. I've seen some people get confused about how to do this, and they've just canonicalized every page on their website to their homepage, which really confuses the search engine, because it's basically telling the search engine that all the content is the same as the homepage, which isn't helpful. So make sure you don't do that one. You want to use using relative URLs in canonical tags, like I said earlier. Always make sure that you use absolute URLs in your canonical tag and not relative URLs, because that can cause confusion, especially if you've got content across multiple domains. Paginated content. This is another one where people often get confused on what to do. If you've got like paginated content, like a blog archive or like a e-commerce page with pages and pages of products in, say, in the shoe category, page 1, page 2, page 3, don't just canonicalize them all to the main category page. Instead, let each paginated page be canonical to itself. It's quite common that people will put them all back to the main category page without all the paginated pages. It's important to do it with the paginated pages. Inconsistent use of trailing slashes is another one that people do. So, for example, if you've got a URL, say https://www.example.com/page and https://www.example.com/page/, okay, you might find that your web server will send them both to the same page. Technically, as far as Google's concerned, it will see those as two separate pages, potentially. So you want to make sure that you canonicalize just the one version, and you want to make sure that throughout your site, wherever possible, if you're going to not have slashes, trailing slashes, or you are going to have trailing slashes, try and be consistent throughout the site. Another one is I've seen people canonicalizing versions to a page that's got a no index meta tag. So no index meta tag is essentially telling Google, don't index this page. And then you're canonicalizing lots of content to a page that telling Google not to index just means, if Google treats that right, it's going to not index any of your content. And if it doesn't treat it right, it's still going to confuse the hell out of it. So don't canonicalize to a no indexed page unless that's really what you want to do. I don't know why you would want to do that. Also, make sure you need to update your canonical tags if you make site changes. This goes back to that same where you've got 301s, things like that. You want to make sure that if a URL of a page changes to a new URL, you want to have that canonical tag change as well. Otherwise, you're going to be potentially sending canonicals first through 301s. And again, not best practice. And the final one is that some people sometimes rely solely on canonical tags and then just do whatever the hell they want on the rest of the site. So, they'll say, I've got my canonical tag. Google will know what the canonical version is. I don't have to necessarily link to the right version. I don't necessarily have to get the content right in different places. I can just rely on that. I will not link and provide all the other signals that Google chooses when it's thinking about what the canonical version of a page is, because for all that I've talked about this canonical tag, Google will treat it only as a hint, not as a directive. So this means that Google reserves the right to say, actually, although you're saying this is a canonical tag, all these other signals are suggesting to me that it's not the canonical version, so I'm going to ignore it. So this is where, you need to be consistent. So if you've chosen a canonical URL for a piece of content, make sure your internal links point to the canonical version of the content and not to the other duplicate versions. And the same with things like your sitemap and other things like that. Make sure that all point to the same version. So I hope that was useful. I hope it's cleared up on, what, even if it's just what canonicalization is in the first place for you, and you've got something tonight to go and research to make sure you're getting it right. I know it's tricky when, we talk, HTML code or any kind of code on a podcast. It's very hard because you're not seeing it. But hopefully now you understand why what canonical version is, B, why they exist, and C, at least have a starting point to go and work out how to start implementing them. So yeah, that's it for today. And until next time, keep optimizing, stay curious, and remember, SEO is not that hard when you understand the basics. Thanks for listening. It means a lot to me. This is where I get to remind you where you can connect with me and my SEO tools and services. You can find links to all the links I mentioned here in the show notes. Just remember, with all these places where I use my name, the Ed is spelled with 2 Ds. You can find me on LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Just search for Ed Dawson on both. You can record a voice question to get answered on the podcast. The link is in the show notes. You can try our SEO intelligence platform, Keywords People Use, at keywordspeopleuse.com where we can help you discover the questions and keywords people are asking online, cluster those questions and keywords into related groups so you know what content you need to build topical authority, and finally connect your Google Search Console account for your sites so we can crawl and understand your actual content, find what keywords you rank for, and then help you optimize and continually refine your content with targeted, personalized advice to keep your traffic growing. If you're interested in learning more about me personally or looking for dedicated consulting advice, then visit www.eddawson.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.